My name's Robert McLean and I'm the Church-to-Church Missioner here at ABM. I'm here to introduce to you St John's Seminary in Kitwe, Zambia, which is one of the projects that your diocese is supporting through the Archbishop of Brisbane's November appeal this year. Zambia is shaded dark blue on this map. The 5 Zambian dioceses are part of the Church of the Province of Central Africa. The current Archbishop, Albert Chama, is a Zambian. Zambia is a little smaller than New South Wales. It's landlocked, with Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Tanzania and Zimbabwe as its neighbours. There are almost 14 million people divided into 70 tribal groups. The country is very young. Almost 47% of the population is 14 or under. In Australia, that's just over 18%. Average life expectancy is 52 years. Here in Australia, we get almost 3 decades more. About 16% of adults are estimated to have HIV or AIDS. Here in Australia, only 0.1%. And the unit of currency is the Zambian kwacha. The country is one of great natural beauty. Here we can see the Victoria Falls on the river Zambezi, and there are many beautiful wild animals there too. Kitwe is located in the centre of the country, in the Copperbelt province. Founded in 1936 as a base for the copper mining industry, Kitwe is the second largest city in the country with over 500,000 people. The landscape around the city is an attractive mix of gently undulating woodland, farmland, wetland and rivers. Kitwe is a commercial centre with banks and markets. There are 2 large shopping malls being built, and the town has access to basic health care. The Mindolo Ecumenical Foundation campus is located in Kitwe and is comprised of St John's Anglican Seminary, the United Church of Zambia Theological College, Theological Education by Extension in Zambia, the Young Women's Christian Association, a peace training program called the Dag Hammarskjöld Messengers of Peace training program, and the Africa Literature Centre. St John's Seminary serves the 5 Zambian dioceses of the Church of the Province of Central Africa. The seminary was founded by an Australian priest, Father Charles Helms, who's now resident in Ballarat Diocese. ABM seeks your support for the Theological College so that the ordinands can receive better theological education, reach their full potential in their ministries, and play a strong part in bringing God's love to the people of Zambia. Bishop John Osmers is the rector of the seminary. He's a Kiwi who's given most of his adult life to the church in Africa. He was a missionary in Lesotho from 1965 to 79. On the 5th of July in 1979, he received a parcel bomb from South Africa, which took off a hand and the front of his legs, as well as injuring 4 of his colleagues. He was in Botswana from 1980 to 1988, when he had to leave because of threats from a South African death squad. From 1988 to 1991, he was chaplain of the African National Congress, South Africa, based in Lusaka, Zambia. He was then consecrated as the first Bishop of Eastern Zambia, a new diocese, in 1995. Now, in his so-called retirement, he oversees St John's Seminary. Here we are at the entrance to the seminary. Let's see what's inside. Here's Bishop Osmers with some of the ordinands. Here we can see one of the buildings that was established by Father Helms. The seminary's vehicle and the water storage tanks. The seminary has some computers for the ordinands to use. They are often to be found working hard in the library, the academic hub of the seminary. Ordinands at a lecture. Among them is Robert Ferris from the Church of Ireland on placement at St John's. The Dean of Studies, Father Barry Muchemwa, is an accomplished Zimbabwean theologian, formerly a Roman Catholic, and now an Anglican priest married to a Zambian wife. He teaches Christian doctrine, Christian ethics, Old Testament and sacramental theology to the third-year students, and fundamentals of the faith to the evangelists. He is studying for his PhD through the Protestant University of Utrecht. The chapel, the seminary's spiritual hub, services are held here every day. Here are some books from SPCK for the ordinands. These books will form the basis for the ordinands' personal libraries at the seminary and once they are in parishes. On Sundays, the ordinands are sent out to local parishes. At one of the local churches, we can see that an offertory procession begins to form. First come the drums, then women join in, bringing harvest offerings. The celebrant receives the harvest offerings, and the foods are placed around the altar. Back at the seminary and in their hometowns, classes are run to help the ordinands' wives earn money. In a country with only 5% of the population in formal employment and 75% living on less than $1 a day, wives often work to contribute to the family income. The seminary's married students send about $25 home each month from their food allowance of $70, saving for that by going without breakfast. It's hard to imagine any Australian ordinand being forced into doing that. Like the other ordinands, Christopher Koloko found it a great challenge to live away from his wife, Naomi, and their 3 children. That was the case for most of the 4 years he trained at St John's prior to his recent ordination. There are 4 flats built by Father Helms for the married students, but the seminary has been forced to rent them out to supplement the meagre income provided by the National Church. They receive only $2,100 a month, and that is supposed to cover the students' allowances, as well as the costs incurred for administration, transport, and the wages of 4 support staff. That means that all the costs for the maintenance of buildings and vehicles, for the purchasing of library books, for an internet connection, and to help with the wives' basic education in their home areas have to await donor funding. The participants at the psychosocial counselling course are from the seminary and from the United Church of Zambia Theological College. Bishop Osmers says, "Our seminarians are now qualified to give counselling before and after HIV/AIDS testing, which is very important in a country where the HIV prevalence is 16% of the adult population. It's reduced in a few years down from 18%. Fortunately, antiretroviral drugs are free in Zambia through the help of the Global Fund and the US President's Fund. Large-scale publicity is reducing the stigma of HIV infection, and people are coming for testing in large numbers, getting medication if needed, and so prolonging lives." In Zambia, about 16% of the population lives with HIV or AIDS. That's about 2.25 million people. Each year, the seminary receives a number of visitors. For example, the Veronicas, the church's group for young women, support the seminary by making donations of food from time to time. Visitors come from each of the dioceses to the college. Here we see visitors from Luapula Diocese in the far north of the country. Jacob Mulenga, from a 4th-generation Anglican family, is a Zambian professional footballer playing in Utrecht and a striker for the Zambian national team. Born in Kitwe, he is a committed Anglican and several times a year sends money for his mother to come with students' food and paper and teaching supplies. Here we see Jacob Mulenga's mother bringing blankets in plastic bags for the students for the winter. I think this year's project is a good one to support because the college is trying to produce not only theologically literate ordinands, but also ordinands who are ready to face the challenges of contemporary Zambia. In a country with so many people with HIV, it's great to see the church embracing learning about HIV and teaching the students something really useful, like the psychosocial counselling. Also, they've recently had courses about how to look after people who are either suffering from HIV or AIDS in a home-based context, and also having courses about looking after orphans and vulnerable children. And of course, in a country with so many adults sick or dying, orphans and vulnerable children are a great worry. So I think it's great to see the church doing something about that. So that's why I think it's a really valuable project to support. I would urge you to do so.